When one of the most respected investors in history speaks candidly about a topic as politically and economically sensitive as tariffs, the world listens. Recently, Warren Buffett made a bold statement in an interview that caught many off guard. He openly criticized the use of tariffs, suggesting they're not just ineffective, but deeply harmful to the very people they claim to protect, ordinary American citizens. He didn't stop there. After a thoughtful pause, he went on to explain the ripple effect these trade barriers create. You always have to ask yourself what comes next. That's the heart of Buffett's long-standing investment philosophy. Don't just look at what's happening now. Anticipate the chain reaction. It's not just about putting tariffs on another country. It's about what happens when that country responds. In the case he referenced, China retaliates, and we find ourselves in an economic tit-for-tat that ultimately leaves consumers and small businesses paying the price. Buffett distilled the concept simply. Tariffs are a tax on you and me. They're not absorbed by some distant corporation or foreign entity. The burden falls directly on the shoulders of consumers as the cost of goods and raw materials begins to rise. He even brought a bit of wit to the situation. Quoting Will Rogers, "We're the first nation in the world to go to the poorhouse in a nice automobile." This isn't just a clever remark. It's a warning. The illusion of prosperity can mask the economic damage quietly unfolding beneath the surface. And yet, while all this unfolds in political arena, markets seem to tell a different story. After the April 2nd announcement that triggered a steep decline, the S&P 500 has rebounded. As of now, it's not only recovered from those losses, but is in positive territory for the year. This is a clear reminder that financial markets are far more complex than a single headline. You can anticipate an event correctly, tariffs, market correction, consumer slowdown, but the real challenge lies in forecasting the second and third effects. What happens next? That's where Buffett's genius lies. It's also where your focus as an investor should lie. Understanding market reactions in the short term can be a guessing game, but having a robust long-term strategy, that's where real wealth is built. Warren Buffett doesn't panic over market noise. He holds firm to core principles, consistency, discipline, and a long-term outlook that transcends the emotional spikes of news cycles and political unrest. If you've been enjoying this perspective so far, make sure you stay connected to the insights that matter. Take a moment now to subscribe and give this video a like. That's how we continue to bring you thoughtful content that helps you grow and protect your wealth. Back to the point. Buffett's cautionary words about tariffs come at a moment when inflation, interest rates, and economic anxiety are converging. As he stated before, he believes the market will be higher in 10, 20, even 30 years from now. But that doesn't mean the journey will be smooth. The path forward will be filled with volatility, some of it justified, much of it reactionary. This is especially important for those of us planning for retirement or managing investments meant to secure our family's future. That's why the foundation of any smart investment strategy must be long-term asset allocation, not trying to time the market, not chasing trends, but establishing what portion of your wealth should be in stocks, what belongs in bonds, and how much liquidity you need to sleep at night. As Buffett emphasizes, your goal isn't to avoid the storm. Your goal is to build a portfolio that can weather it. And building that portfolio isn't just a numbers game. It's also an emotional one. A solid plan must take into account not only your age, income, and goals, but also your temperament. Two people with identical financial situations may need entirely different strategies, simply because one loses sleep during market dips and the other doesn't. This is where professional guidance can make a world of difference. Working with a financial advisor, particularly a fiduciary who puts your interests first, can help you to find that allocation and stay disciplined through uncertain times. But even if you don't choose to work with someone long-term, getting help during the planning phase can be the most important financial decision you make. Many professionals offer one-time sessions or short-term planning for an affordable fee, and the clarity that comes from it is priceless. When it comes to retirement planning, that clarity becomes even more essential. You need to know the answer to key questions. How much do I need to save? When can I realistically retire? What does retirement look like if I stop working in 5 years instead of 10? These aren't hypothetical questions. They define your lifestyle, your freedom, and how you'll spend the most precious resource you have, your time. There's also a broader conversation that many investors avoid but must confront. What do you value more, having more money or having more life? For some, working a few extra years means living with greater financial ease. For others, it may not be worth sacrificing health, time with loved ones, or the freedom to explore new experiences. These trade-offs are deeply personal, but the worst thing you can do is leave them unexamined. And all of this loops back to Warren Buffett's wisdom. He's built a $100 billion empire not by avoiding risk, but by understanding it. He's not interested in short-term headlines. He's interested in long-term outcomes. That mindset, applied to your own finances, is what can separate stress from security, reaction from resilience, and confusion from confidence. By the way, did you know that most people who watch videos on this channel aren't subscribed? Take just a second now to check if you're subscribed. If not, hit that button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Every week, we unpack the strategies of the world's greatest investors, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Let's take a closer look at how the broader economic shifts are being reflected in the behavior of everyday consumers, and how even giants like McDonald's aren't immune to these trends. 6 to 12 months ago, we started to see signs that lower-income Americans were beginning to cut back on fast food purchases. What was once considered affordable, convenient food is now increasingly out of reach. And while that shift might have seemed isolated at first, the reality has expanded. Middle-income families are now tightening their belts as well. McDonald's recently issued a warning. Even among the company's core demographics, spending is declining. This isn't just a business issue. It's a symptom of something larger. The economy may not be in an official recession, but the signs of a rolling recession are everywhere. Different sectors are hitting speed bumps at different times. We saw it clearly in 2022 when the tech industry faced sweeping layoffs and corrections. Now, the pattern is rippling outward, touching consumer retail, food service, logistics, and more. Inflation plays a huge role in this transition. While it's down significantly from a nearly 10% peak, the journey back to the Federal Reserve's 2% target has been anything but easy. The path has required raising interest rates, slowing consumer demand, and recalibrating the economy's pace, all without tipping into a full-blown recession. This balance is often referred to as a soft landing, and it's incredibly difficult to achieve. Jerome Powell and the Federal Open Market Committee have been walking this tightrope for several years now. While opinions are split, some admire his leadership, others criticize it. One thing is certain. Orchestrating a glide path back to stability without crashing the economy is one of the toughest challenges any central banker can face. And with new tariffs looming and global supply chains still recovering from disruptions, that balancing act has only grown more complex. So what does this mean for the individual investor or retiree? It means we must prepare for long stretches of uncertainty. Buffett's philosophy of building a strategy that holds firm through noise becomes even more crucial in moments like this. Markets may rally, dip, or move sideways for weeks, months, or even years. But your financial success shouldn't hinge on tomorrow's headline or next week's economic data. It should hinge on a plan you can believe in, even when the world around you gets loud. And that plan must include not just asset allocation, but a deep understanding of your financial levers. How much you spend, how much you save, how long you plan to work, and what trade-offs you're willing to accept. Retirement isn't a date on the calendar. It's a strategy built on dozens of small decisions. Some people can retire at 55 because they've saved aggressively and minimized lifestyle costs. Others may need to work until 70, not out of necessity, but because they want to continue doing meaningful work. One of the most overlooked elements of long-term planning is lifestyle inflation. When people earn more, they tend to spend more. That sounds logical on the surface, but it's one of the most destructive habits to long-term wealth accumulation. Warren Buffett, despite his unimaginable fortune, still lives in the same modest house he bought in 1958. Why? Because he understands something most people don't. The more you need, the less control you have. Think about that. The more dependent you become on luxuries, the harder it is to walk away from a job, a boss, or a lifestyle that drains your health and joy. Financial independence isn't just about having money. It's about having options. It's about the power to choose how you spend your days. And that freedom begins with self-discipline, not a six-figure paycheck. Now let's circle back to the retail and food sector. Companies like Walmart and McDonald's are seen as recession indicators. When consumers cut back on essentials and budget staples, it's a signal that wallets are tightening. This also points to something deeper. Financial stress is shifting from the lower income bracket to the middle class. And when the middle class starts to feel squeezed, it's a wake-up call that can't be ignored. In these moments, Buffett's core teachings resonate more than ever. Don't invest emotionally. Don't chase what's popular. Invest in what makes sense over a lifetime. And remember, price is what you pay, value is what you get. That single sentence, repeated by Buffett in countless shareholder letters, carries a timeless truth. Don't confuse cost with worth. In times of crisis, people often flee to safe investments, only to overpay for underwhelming returns. Stay calm. Stay informed. Stay the course. Another practical piece of Buffett-inspired advice is to run your personal finances like a business. Know your income. Know your expenses. Build an emergency fund. Reduce liabilities. Prioritize cash flow over net worth, especially in uncertain environments. Net worth might look good on paper, but it doesn't help you sleep at night when bills are due and income is unstable. And don't underestimate the value of planning software. If you're not working with a financial advisor, tools like Bolden, formerly New Retirement, offer user-friendly platforms to help you model different retirement scenarios. A spreadsheet may work for basic calculations, but when your future is at stake, you need clarity, not guesswork. Plug in different retirement ages. Play with variables like inflation, interest rates, and Social Security. Let the data guide your decisions, not your emotions. Sometimes, the smartest financial move isn't investing in a new opportunity. It's avoiding a mistake. That mistake might be buying into hype, overspending on a lifestyle you can't sustain, or delaying planning because it feels overwhelming. But remember, every day you wait is a day you could be growing, saving, and preparing. Time, not timing, is the most powerful force in investing. And if this video is adding value to your journey, consider dropping a comment below. Share how you're navigating today's economy, what you've learned from Buffett, or even what strategies you're using for retirement planning. Your voice helps others, and we'd love to hear your perspective. While you're here, go ahead and like the video. It helps more thoughtful investors find this content. Let's bring this full circle. Warren Buffett didn't become one of the most successful investors in history by reacting to headlines or panicking during downturns. He mastered the art of patience, the discipline of research, and the courage to go against the crowd when necessary. His strategy was never about predicting the next big thing. It was about understanding long-term value, identifying solid fundamentals, and avoiding foolish mistakes. That kind of mindset isn't just useful for investors. It's crucial for anyone trying to build a secure financial future. The volatility we see today, the roller coaster markets, the shifting inflation rates, the unpredictable geopolitical tensions, can shake even the most grounded people. But if you can shift your perspective from how do I win today to how do I stay strong for decades, you start making smarter choices. One of those smarter choices is to accept that you'll never have all the answers. Even Buffett gets it wrong sometimes. But what separates him from most is his ability to admit mistakes, learn quickly, and avoid repeating them. He doesn't let pride or fear drive his portfolio. He lets principles guide him. And that's something every one of us can emulate, even if we don't have billions at stake. There's another layer to this conversation that often gets overlooked, the emotional side of money. Buffett has said many times that temperament is more important than IQ when it comes to investing. You don't need to be a genius to build wealth. You need to control your emotions, make rational decisions under pressure, and stick to your strategy when it's most difficult to do so. So, how do you develop that kind of resilience? Start by asking better questions. Instead of "is now the time to invest?" ask, "what's the right investment for my goals and risk tolerance?" Instead of "should I sell during this dip?" ask, "has anything changed in my long-term plan that justifies this move?" Better questions lead to better answers and better financial outcomes. Let's also address one more critical truth. Most people don't fail because they lack opportunity. They fail because they lack consistency. The same is true in personal finance. It's not the one-time windfall that builds real wealth. It's a repeated, disciplined actions over time. Saving every month, avoiding unnecessary debt, investing in broad market funds, and staying the course even when others panic. These are boring habits that lead to extraordinary results. If you're feeling overwhelmed right now by the economy, by the uncertainty, by the pressure to make the right decision, remember this. Clarity doesn't come from overthinking. It comes from action. Take the next best step. Review your budget. Talk to a trusted advisor. Revisit your retirement goals. Update your plan. No action is too small when it's done with intention. And above all, be kind to yourself in the process. Financial literacy isn't something most people were taught. If you're here, reading this, learning, absorbing, then you're already ahead of the game. It's not about being perfect. It's about being proactive. It's about recognizing that your future isn't something you stumble into. It's something you build, brick by brick, day by day, decision by decision. Warren Buffett may never buy McDonald stock, and he may disagree with tariffs or economic policy. But what matters more than his opinions are the principles that guide him. Think long-term. Avoid unnecessary risk. Stay rational. Learn constantly. Help others along the way. Those values can guide all of us, no matter where we are on our financial journey. And speaking of helping others, if this content has given you insight, perspective, or even a bit of encouragement, consider sharing it with someone who might benefit. A friend, a family member, or even your community. Financial knowledge is one of the greatest gifts we can give, especially in times when the noise is louder than the truth. Oh, and before you leave, check if you're subscribed to this channel. Many of the people who watch our videos aren't yet part of our community. If that's you, click subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss new insights like these. We're building something meaningful here, and we'd love to have you on the journey.